Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to all. My name is Nuaini binti Ismail and I'm a Form 4 student from Smku Ubay. I live in Kampung Pang Tua and I'm the last child in the family of 8. My favorite color is black and I'm a very big fan of English and art. I'm also a big fan of pop music and my favorite artist is Taylor Swift.
Okay, Aini, can you tell a little bit about your ambition and also your interest?
As a child, I've always wanted to be a teacher or a doctor, like the cliche jobs. But as I grew up, I was able to experience many things which widens my knowledge in many area of expertise. And I've decided that I want to pursue careers in the IT area, like maybe software developer or graphic designer. As for my interests, I like to play games in my free time, which is why I want to pursue IT. And I also like to draw and read. As for reading, I like reading action and adventure. I'm not really a big fan of fantasy romance. However, I do enjoy fantasy and sci-fi.
Okay. Aini, can you tell me your academic achievement and co-curricular activities?
Talking about my academic achievements, back when I was a Form 1 student, I was able to join a competition, a spelling bee competition held by the English teacher assistant, Mr. Edward Harton, and I was able to place number 1. Secondly, back in 2020, about 2 years ago, me and Zafira, we were fortunate enough to be able to present in front of Her Majesty Seri Paduka Baginda, the Raja Permaisuri Agong, about the indigenous people in Chini. Other than that, I was also able to place number 1 in the final exam for Form 3, 2021, and I will be receiving an award this Saturday from the school. Talking about my co-curricular achievements, ever since I am in the school, I was able to join almost every chess competition held throughout the past few years. And currently, I am joining a program called Malaysia Future Leaders School, which also known as MFLS, and it is still ongoing. And I am hoping that I will be able to become a better leader in the future.
All right, Aini. Now, you can proceed with your presentation.
All right, thank you. Here I have 3 books with me that I have picked out. And the first one is Us Against You by Frederick Beckman. The second one is Child Eater by Rachel Pollack. And lastly, my favorite, Endgame, The Complete Training Diaries by James Frey. Going back to the first book, it is published in 2017 by Simon & Schuster, Inc. It has 423 pages, fully written in English. It cost me about 25 ringgits on Shopee. And the book tells the story of a boy hockey team who used to be the greatest, but after an incident involving one of their members and a girl, the team fell and disbanded. As a result, the people in the Bear Town were very upset, especially the former players who now play for the rival team in Head. But soon, a new team was formed surrounding Ahmad, the fastest player, Benji, the lone wolf, and Vida, the troublemaker. As the big match approaches, many pranks and incidents occurred, which then leads them to thinking, will they be able to come back to the simple and innocent love they had for ice hockey? The story focused more on strength and tribal loyalty, showing what people do to teach their boys to be men. And then, moving on to the second book. It is published in 2014 by Quercus Publishing. It has 323 pages, fully written in English also. I bought it for about 25 ringgits, also in Shopee. The title may sound spooky, but it is actually not a blood-curdling novel. Simon Wisdom, who is the youngest child in the Wisdom family, is able to see souls of the dead, much like his father, Jack Wisdom. However, they only wish to live a normal life. In another world, Matthias is the son of an innkeeper. Simon and Matthias are from two different worlds, both born with different gifts and wishing things to be different. However, they both have a common destiny, the souls of the dead begging for them to be safe. The child eater, as mentioned in the title, who co-inhabits the different worlds, also always on the lookout for children to kidnap and eat, makes for a worthy adversary. And so, the book tells the story of the main characters who scramble to find a way to defeat the child eater. It is a happy ending, don't worry. In the end, Matthias was finally able to make peace with himself and accept himself as he is. As for the father and son duo, they were able to find a way to defeat the child eater by using their secret weapon, the tarot cards. After that, they went back to living a peaceful life like they wanted. From this book, it shows me that I don't have to please anyone and I should live the way I want. Because in the end, my life is my own and I have nothing to prove to other people. And then lastly, Endgame. It is published in 2015 by HarperCollins Publishing. It has 416 pages, mostly written in English, but there are some quotation in German. It also cost me about 25 ringgits on Shopee. This book, it has 12 characters who train to be selected as the chosen one to save their ancient bloodline by winning the endgame. They have to go through sacrifices and betrayals, broken hearts and broken bones, living their normal life to become the player that they were meant to be. For them, it is either kill or be killed, and there can be only one winner. The book that I bought, it already includes all 3 volumes. The first one is Origins, second Descendant, and the third one is Existence, dividing all 12 characters to tell their stories. And so I picked 2 characters from the book to explain more as examples. The first one being Marcus, who was the top among his peers, particularly in climbing. I'd say there's nothing he can't climb. However, as he grew up, he met a boy named Xander, and a bond then was formed that lasted for about 7 years. They were best friends, but also great rivals, both wanting to be selected as the player. But in the end, Xander was the one who beat Marcus and was then chosen as the player. Marcus took it pretty rough. However, during a trip to a volcano for a climb together, a tragedy occurred. Xander, he fell into the volcano and was able to hold on to the rock for a while, but it didn't last long. Marcus, he could have saved him, but too many thoughts were going on in his mind, so he decided not to. He watched as his best friend fell and melt into the hot lava, his body filled with regrets. But then he made up stories to tell to the other people and was then chosen as the player as replacement. He then continued his journey as a player, while the thought of him killing his best friend haunt him the entire journey. And then we have the story of Eileen, who was chosen as the player as young as a baby. Her mother, Lorelei, was killed in front of Declan, a father and a husband, who also knows the path of a player. At that point, he decided that this is not a way to live life, especially not for his daughter. He wishes to stop the endgame for her. They have been on the run ever since. They went from town to town, from state to state. Before the pursuers know, they're already gone. Declan, however, knew that in the end, he's bound to face the enemy sooner or later, because running away is not a way to live either. Just so you know, for the first volume, it ends with the character Alice, who swore not to be like the other players. She wishes to stick onto her humanity, always, much like his father told her to. And as for the second volume, Origins, as for the second volume, Descendant, it ends with the character Bait Sakan, who finally realized what his mother is to him. He wishes to keep his mother by his side to witness his journey as a player. And then lastly, for the third volume, it shows the character Sarah, who was finally able to live life with the love of her life, Christopher, after 6 years of hardship as a player. What I got from this book is that it is not much different from real life. In the book, it shows that all these players, all these people who have to try their best, have to go through many hardships to become players and achieve their dreams and what they want. It's not much different from us, because in our life we try our best to be the best in everything that we do, like academics, sports, and even hobbies, which is something I find comfort in knowing. That's all from me.
All right, Aini, great job. So we will proceed with some questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So the first question, there are a lot of characters in the 3 books that you have read. Which one is your favorite character? And tell me why that person is your favorite character.
If I were to choose, I would choose Alice from the Endgame book, simply because she was, ever since she was little, people have been telling her what to do, and she has been listening. She have to do what they want and have to just comply, which is something I've been also struggling with, and I am happy that in the end she was able to make this decision for herself without having other people to control her.
Right. Okay, so question number 2. You have read all the 3 books, and I believe you like all of them. Would you suggest to your friends?
I would suggest to them, but it also depends, because for some of my friends, I know that they like to read a lot of books, so I would recommend to them. But as for some others, they're not really into reading, so maybe I suggest something a bit more simple.
I like it that you like reading. Okay, question 3. Can you find any flaws in the books that you read?
The thing about myself is that I'm someone who enjoys things very easily, like I'm easily pleased. I don't often bother myself to find flaws in what I do, unless it really sticks out to me. Like maybe I'm looking to read an action adventure book, so I'm not looking for romance and something like that. which then leads me that all these books I really enjoyed them, so there's nothing that I would change.
That's really positive. Do you think it's very important to be positive?
Yeah, because in being negative, there's not really much good that it will do to us.
Exactly. Good point. Okay, question number 4. Uh, you have read all the 3 books. They have lots of characters, lots of plots, interesting plots. Did they give you a motivation in life?
Yes, like Endgame and Us Against You, it shows that people have to go through many hardships to get what they want. And of course, that if we want to achieve something, we have to try our best, because if we simply give up after a few inconvenience, then really it is not against us.
Good answer. All right. Let's go to the next question. So now, this is interesting to me. In internet, we have lots of ebooks. Would you prefer to read ebook, or would you prefer to read physical books?
Personally, I like to read ebooks better because there are more convenience, more accessible, and most of the time cheaper. You can just open, like you bring your phone everywhere with you, so it is already in there. You can read it anywhere, anytime. As for physical books, you have to carry them with you, which is a bit troublesome.
Yes. Okay. So, as a student, do you think reading give you advantages to upgrade your English?
Yes, because of course that if we consume many things that are related to what we want to learn, it will help us in gaining knowledge more about it. Like if we read books, we can know a lot more vocabularies, and we know how to build sentences and other things like that.
Okay. All right. I have a few more questions. Okay. Bear with me. If you are to pick another book in the future, what book would you pick and why?
I currently have a lot of book to read in my list, and if I were to read one, it would be titled Will You Stay? And simply because I have seen it recommended by many people, and as I see it, it is something that I actually related to at the moment, because even though it is about romance, something I'm not really a fan of, but
Okay.
I've experienced it recently, so I'm trying to find like something that I can learn from it.
What's the title again?
Will You Stay?
Will You Stay? Oh, okay.
It is an Islamic love story.
Masha. Okay, all right. Maybe I can read that too. All right. The next question. I realized when you introduced yourself just now, you said that you love reading and you also love to play games. Okay, which one do you think your favorite?
It's hard to say because the games that I usually play, it's because there are stories involved. So like I usually read and I do other things because I want to experience them. And so the game that I play, it has stories, so of course I'm going to be into it. And most of the reason I play the game is for the stories, but while I play the game, there are other things that I have fell in love with, like the characters, the graphics, the places. So if I were to compare those two, I won't really be able to because I love them equally.
Okay. So what's the most recent game that you played?
It is called Genshin Impact. It is not very recent, but I have been playing it for about 2 years.
Oh, okay, all right. So do you prefer, these are all English books. Do you prefer English material or Bahasa Melayu material?
Personally, I prefer English more because ever since I was a child, I was influenced by my brother. He has been feeding me English media, like watching English movies, listening to English songs, and ever since then, I have been talking to him in English also to improve my speaking, and which is why I have been a bit more comfortable with English rather than my own native language.
I like that. Okay, maybe last question. If you have a chance to learn another language, what language would you like to learn? And why?
If I were to choose one language, it would be Japanese, simply because I'm also a fan of watching the Japanese animation, also called anime, and I have fell in love with their culture and everything else at that point, and I wish to be able to learn the language and maybe even go to their country.
Okay, all right. I think that's all the questions.
Okay, thank you, teacher, for talking to me and the time we spent together. And also thank you to Pusat Sumber Tun Abdul Razak and the coordinator Puan Hasmida for giving me the opportunity to join this Nilam program. And lastly, thank you to the school for giving me a chance to represent the school and being the representative for the English Nilam at the district level competition. Thank you again.
All right, most welcome. Thank you.